So question 11 is about forces and particular interaction force pairs. So the first question, part of the question here, is involving a situation where Jim is pushing a heavy box across a level floor. 4 different forces act on the heavy box as shown below. Add these labels to the diagram. Well, hopefully this one should be fairly straightforward. We should remember that weight always acts towards the centre of the earth, so downwards. And also the other easier one to remember is that friction always points in the opposite direction to the way that the object's moving. So if Jim is pushing the box to the right, friction will point to the left. So that gives you the weight and the friction, and even if you can't really remember what reaction is, which is the force of a surface pushing up on an object to stop it falling through the surface, the other two should give you that, because that's the only space left. So it's reaction up here, weight down the bottom here, and friction pointing to the left for those 2 marks. Now you might say, well, why are there 2 marks? Well, if you look at the guidance, even though you've got 3 things to fill in, you have to get all 3 correct for both marks, and 1 correct or 2 correct for the 1 mark. So basically, you can afford to make 1 or 2 mistakes. If you get them all wrong, that's 0. Okay. And then the last part of the question sort of goes more deeply into what's going on here. Jim pushes on the box with a force of 200 newtons. Jim's weight is 800 newtons. State and explain the size and direction of the force on Jim from the box. You may draw it on the diagram if you wish. So, state and explain the size and direction. Well, the state part of that is the easiest part, and that's actually 2 of the 3 marks. The explanation is the last mark. Even if you're not sure what the answer is, look at the information you've been given. If you've got no clue how to do it, there are only 2 forces mentioned here. It's going to be one of the 2, okay, for the size. And for the direction, well, you've got 4 choices really again, even if you're just picking. So if you're not sure, just put something down for this sort of question. Now, what you're supposed to remember here is that forces come in pairs, called interaction pairs. And the easy way to find the partner force that goes with the interaction pair, right, is to swap the objects and reverse the direction. So this is the clue here. It says Jim pushes on the box with a force of 200 newtons. State and explain the size and direction of the force on Jim from the box. So that's with the object swapped round. The first force is Jim pushing on the box. This force we're trying to describe is the box pushing on Jim. So it should be the interaction pair that goes with it, and that's the explanation part, right? So these forces form an interaction pair, and that always means they point in opposite directions and they have the same size. So the size of this force of the box pushing on Jim will be 200 newtons, and it will be pushing him to the left, right? So that's what's going on there. You have to notice that it's an interaction force pair, and remember that interaction force pairs are the same size, but they point in opposite directions.